Caddis Maximus here again, this time with the Harbor Freight Pittsburgh pass-through socket set. So this is the socket set where it has the sockets that have the through hole. All sockets have a through hole, but instead of having a square shank in the back, like standard interchangeable sockets, they're real round so that they can fit basically down bolts or onto nuts where there's a lot of bolts sticking through. And they're kind of handy. They use what is essentially a mechanism for a ratcheting box wrench. We'll take a nice close look at this if it will cooperate. Here we go. And it looks pretty nice. There's a little snap ring, a little clip in there. It's not even an E-clip or an actual snap ring. You have to pick it out with some picks or a screwdriver or something, but it could be taken apart to be rebuilt. And this is their standard handles. For some reason they changed from red to green, and I'm not exactly sure why. Its fit and finish is pretty good. The one real issue I've noticed about this, and we'll just get it out to start off with, is they use a special kind of ratchet mechanism in here where there isn't two pawls. There is a single kind of arc-shaped pawl inside here. And when you flip the ratchet, all it's doing is kind of sliding it from being wedged on one side to sliding it to being wedged in the other. Proto also uses a similar socket or a ratcheting mechanism. And it allows you to have a fine-tooth ratchet. And a thin wall like this, they don't have a lot of space. So like a standard ratcheting box wrench, this would strip out pretty easily because they have a lot smaller pawls. This allows you to have a wide area. The pawl is going to be pretty darn long and probably engage in anywhere from 5 to 10 individual teeth. So they can take the torque. The issue is that sometimes when you're ratcheting, you're backing off, you're turning the bolt, and then you go to the other direction, it will carry that pawl along with the ratchet. So it works fine. And then you'll get it into a certain position. I'll show you here. And it will do that. It will flip on you. And that can be pretty darn... See, like right now, it seems like it's locked up. If you're pressing one way or pulling one way, sometimes it will really get stuck or it gets a little bit of grease. If it's just held a little bit, it works just fine. And I've had to resort to putting a piece of tape or a rubber band just to prevent it from reversing. I don't use it that often. I really got it more for the sockets rather than this ratcheting wrench. So the ratcheting wrench is nice. It actually has a pretty strong mechanism in it, but like the Protos, there's a design issue with it where it wants to self-reverse. They need to have a separate dent in the reversing lever to keep it in position. Otherwise, you'll be ratcheting and it will want to do this action, which is really frustrating. It doesn't do it all the time, but you'll be ratcheting and then boom, it'll just lock up and start going the other direction. So that's one thing to make note of. But these on sale, this whole set is apparently $20. So that is undeniably cheap, even without the ratchet mechanism. It does come with the 3-inch through extension. I thought that was pretty neat because we even have a bolt here. Let me demonstrate real fast how these work. See, these are designed where you can have the ratchet, and you can use the ratchet to, obviously, get all the way down. And so say if this was a nut really far down, you would be able to get and slide it. And so that's handy in quite a few situations. But of course, you can put these sockets, you can use ratcheting box wrenches. There's a variety of other things that also will do the same task. But that was kind of a ratchet mechanism. Their fit and finish is actually pretty nice. All the sockets, which is, they say that it's chrome vanadium. You can see, I mean, the chrome plating is fine. The broaching is fine. The stamping is nice and deep. There we go. You can see that the hex is actually machined because you can see some of the machining lines from when they milled it. And then they have a ball retainer. The inside of the ratchet head itself, oh, that's going to be real hard to see. You might just be able to see it there. There's a groove in there that has the a snap ring, so they're actually double snap ringed. This little ball, it's so they'll hold an extension. These are 19 millimeters, by the way. So that's what holds it into the extension. What I thought was interesting, oh, it also comes with an adapter here, which is a quick, or is not. It's just a standard ball dentant 3/8 adapter. But I was wondering why the balls are offset instead of in the center of the face. And I thought, I don't know if that was you know, is intentionally designed, but I don't know if that was just to help retain it in the 12-point ratchet mechanism. But I realized that you can use these to fit into 19mm box wrenches. We'll zoom back out. So that way you can have a box wrench that has a bit of an offset as well as the angle. And there's many situations where I wanted exactly this. And this is why I bought these sockets, really, is because I'm working on a flange and I need to use a box wrench, but the little edge of the flange just hits the bottom of the box wrench. You can use offsets, but sometimes they're a little tall. And so this is real nice because it allows you to get just beyond a little flange and then use your box wrench as normal. As well as obviously still having the advantage of a big through hole. So that's really all I'd recommend. For 20 bucks, it's worth it just for the sockets, and the way they'll hold them to a 12-point wrench is pretty darn invaluable. They can also be used in a deep well socket to just extend the deep well just a little bit. Like if this was a deep well and it was too long with an extension and you couldn't get exactly the right length, this would allow you to add about 1 inch of extra length to any existing socket. So it gives you more options. Just having these means every one of your short wells and every one of your deep wells just became double because you have all these different options to extend them. As far as sizes, it's 10-piece metric, 8-piece imperial, going from 10mm, I believe, 10mm to 19mm, and of course 3/4 inch to 5/16 in the imperial. So that was a little bit longer review. We were just wanted to talk about some of the more details and how these are actually pretty interesting sets. And the ratchet, I'm sure, is strong, but the way it reverses for most people, it's just going to be it's not really going to be usable. I tried a few of them. Some of them are better than others. Maybe as it breaks in, it will get better, but you know, that could be real frustrating, and always having to take a piece of tape or jam some piece of paper under the reversing lever just to keep it from changing direction on you. Otherwise, yeah, the little extension, the through-hole extension, this adapter is kind of odd, but I thought, well, it could be useful because it allows you to turn a box wrench to drive any 3/8 socket, so that might be handy. As well as having a 1/4 inch hex for driver bits on the backside, so that could be handy too. And I've considered just grinding it off so it fit nice and flush, which is probably what I'll do. So, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Catus Maximus out. I'll stop doing pure Harbor Freight videos soon, but they seem to get a little more views than my average tool review, so I've been doing a bunch of Harbor Freight stuff lately. Okay, thanks again. Bye.